Alright, so this is a suggestion via Patreon. The name of the video is what if we dumped our trash into volcanoes? Let's go and check it out. This is coming from the channel What If. Really quickly, before we even jump into this, I'll tell you, I do think that it sounds like a solid premise, as everything for the most part would just be obliterated. It would just not be there any longer. But I do think that the fumes from the trash and some of these materials would be extremely hazardous. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've never thought about this idea. It's an interesting question to be asked. But let's see the overall opinion. Go ahead and check the volume.
A volcano is one of the most unforgiving natural phenomenons on Earth.
Right.
If you were to fall into its magma-filled center, your body would quickly bubble up and disappear without a trace. So, if they're so good at getting rid of things,
guys,
why aren't we using them to get rid of our garbage?
All right, so here's number one. You probably shouldn't say things like that online. And I would tell you why, right? You generally don't want to tell people how to dispose of a body, guys, right? You generally don't want to do that. But luckily, none of you guys are like that, so respect. Absolutely. It reminds me of like, how do I say this nicely? It reminds me of a class that I'd gone to one time. It was a shooting class. And the instructor said to me, make sure you always have your firearm on you, obviously, but make sure you have a secondary revolver. And then I asked the question, what was the reason for the secondary revolver? His response was, you keep the evidence with you. And I was just like, what? Right. This came from the mouth of like a Navy colonel. I was just like, I was surprised. All right. Like, you don't give people advice like that publicly, at least. Right. But either way,
if they're so good at getting rid of things, why aren't we using them to get rid of our garbage? Has anyone tried it before? How would we transport all our trash to them? And what dangers would be involved?
Let's go.
This is What If. And here's what would happen if we dumped our trash into volcanoes.
Let's go.
Americans alone generate about 254 million tons of trash per year. And although dumping it into volcanoes might sound like the perfect way to get rid of it, it wouldn't be that easy. Volcanoes might look like nature's garbage incinerators, but in reality, they're much more dangerous and unstable. Not to mention, a lot harder to get to. Would overcoming these obstacles be worth it?
No.
Or would dumping our trash in volcanoes just cause even more harm to our planet? The first obstacle in our quest for volcanic garbage disposal.
Definitely the logistics of actually getting it there would be really important here. Then also the dangers of the vehicles and the people inside the vehicles that are bringing it to this active volcano. Imagine if it erupts as soon as they're above it, unless they come up with some type of like belt system that can withstand the temperatures of actually being in the proximity permanently of an active volcano that brought it up. But I do think that it'll probably end up being some type of plastic that's used most likely to kind of lift, like on the belt system at least. I guess they could use some type of metal, but I'm just trying to think of like ways to even do it. But I just say none of it makes sense, guys. I'm just going to be honest. None of it makes sense, and none of it, it's not even worth it, personally. How we're doing it is the best that it can be done, I think, as of right now, maybe, right? There are towns around the United States of America that basically just buries things, and they create these burial mounds in a sense of just trash. We need to figure out a way. I'll give you that. We definitely need to come up with an absolutely solid way that's beneficial for the Earth also, obviously, because we live here.
Would be finding an active volcano that can get the job done. There are only about 1,500 potentially active volcanoes worldwide, and most of them aren't located anywhere near humans for obvious reasons. That means getting all our trash to an active volcano could turn out to be pretty expensive. And once we get there, we might find out it's not even the right kind of active volcano.
Okay.
The kind of volcano we'd be looking for is called a shield volcano. A slow erupting variety that contains the iconic lava lakes that gradually spew out onto the Earth.
Okay.
Unfortunately, these aren't very common. You're more likely to come across their angry cousins, known as stratovolcanoes. Stratovolcanoes are known for their explosive eruptions, caused by the buildup of pressure from hot gas and magma. In other words, they're probably not the safest location for the town dump. But let's say we're lucky enough to find ourselves a nice active shield volcano. Before we worry about the logistics of getting our trash there, let's figure out if it's even a good idea to dump it inside. If you were one of the first waste collectors hired to drive up to the vent of a volcano, you'd quickly start to question your career choices.
I can imagine.
The vent of a volcano is a treacherous environment full of poisonous gases, lava splatter, and projectile rocks. And things only get worse once you start throwing stuff inside. In 2002, a group of Ethiopian researchers threw a 30-kilogram bag of trash into a volcano, and the results were explosive. Lava lakes are unstable, so if you pierce their surfaces with something cold like trash, you'll trigger a chain reaction of explosions involving pressurized and acidic steam.
Okay, but it does seem to be like extremely localized, though. But I'm guessing if you're doing that right there, then that's probably going to be silly.
Can you imagine how big these explosions would be if you threw an entire nation's trash in there?
Right. Okay.
Well, to put it in perspective, rock falls into lava lakes in Hawaii have sent lava 85 meters into the air. So it'd probably look something like that.
85 meters. 160, maybe 200, say 250 feet, maybe. How I do meters is I just times it by 3, guys.
Even if you could say
the number's not accurate, it may be like 2.8, 2.9, whatever it is. I just times it by 3, get a rough estimate. So I'm gonna go ahead and say probably around 250.
Get your trash into the volcano, you'd still have to worry about all the air pollution created by burning our waste without filters.
Yeah.
Plus, not all materials will completely break down in lava, which means that the polluting remnants could erupt out and contaminate the surrounding landscape. Not ideal if you were hoping to burn nuclear waste, for example. Add these environmental impacts on top of the fact that shipping all our trash to these volcanoes
it's funny because it's stupid.
Would significantly increase the carbon footprint of the waste disposal, and the whole thing looks like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
If we're going to burn our trash, why not at least do it someplace where we can use the heat released through incineration to create new sources of energy?
Absolutely.
Or instead, maybe we could just shoot our garbage out into space. Surely there can't be any harmful effects there, right? Well,
let's not
that's
do that.
A topic for another What If.
Yeah, let's not send garbage to space, guys. All right. Yeah, let's not do that. All right, because what's going to end up happening is, think about this here. If we start dumping, I didn't even watch the video, but that's so frightening to even think about, guys. Sending our garbage into space, like the amount of trash that we as a human race actually creates, guys, and then throwing it into space, we're going to start blocking like our life source in a sense, right? We're going to start blocking the sun out. That's not a good idea, right? As we are for the most part trying to move to like renewable energy, as like a race of people, right? Why would we remove our largest energy source? Keep that in mind. Plants will start suffering from that. That means a lot of animals will start suffering from that. That means food shortages everywhere. Guys, that sounds, and he made a video about it. I'm seeing it right above my head now, guys, on the screen here. Guys, yeah, no. Okay. That sounds even more frightening than the volcanoes. That may be worse, guys. GPS satellites also. Imagine. We have so many satellites right now floating like around our globe that I just can't imagine now blocking all of that with trash. Then also think about getting it to space. The cost of that. Like your garbage bill, if you're complaining about it right now, just, it'll probably be crazier then. So no space, all right? I feel like I want to watch that video, guys. Oh, no. But all right, either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day, and enjoy your day thoroughly.